You're watching the Alabama Weather Network.
It's Friday, the 23rd of January. I'm meteorologist James Spann. We're getting set to cruise into a wild weekend of weather for Alabama. And could the next weekend be wild? Oh, there's so much to talk about today, so just kind of hang back, strap in. Let's talk you through the entire event. Let's begin with the current situation. This is always the best thing to do. This is where we stand now. This is not computer modeling. This is real-time, upper air. You got that upper low, that trough that's off the coast of Southern California. That'll be zipping across the southern states, setting up a really nasty winter storm that's covering a large part of the United States. But today, nice and quiet. Visible satellite view, a little bit of sunshine around. We've got a mix of sun and clouds. And the radar basically showing nothing across the state. Temperatures this afternoon range from the mid-40s in the Tennessee Valley to 70 at Gulf Shores. What a day on the beach. All right, so we've got ice storm warnings for much of Louisiana, North Mississippi, the northwest corner of Alabama, much of North Georgia, including Atlanta, much of South Carolina, the western part of North Carolina. All those darker purple shades, those are ice storm warnings. So let's focus in on Alabama. We have 3 counties under an ice storm warning. That's Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin, Florence, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Cherokee, Red Bay, not Hamilton, but not Hackleburg, but Phil Campbell. Marion County is under a winter weather advisory. But again, those 3 counties, that's where we have the highest chance of really meaningful ice accumulation and significant power outages. We also note there's an ice storm warning just across the Georgia state line, much of North Georgia. But in the North Alabama area, we've got that winter weather advisory for the counties in the lighter shades of purple. That as far south as Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Cullman, Blount, Etowah, Cherokee, where there could be a little freezing rain tomorrow. But again, it should be light, but there could be some spotty icing in those areas. And again, there's a winter storm watch for Calhoun and Cleburne counties, Anniston, Heflin, Jacksonville. Very conditional there. That's if some of that colder air from Georgia can move in from the east, the cold air damming effect. It remains to be seen if that happens. And again, we stress Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, not involved in this, just rain. For those places, the big problem for those cities will be Monday morning with a chance of black ice and maybe a flash freeze after all the rain. And look at this. This is pretty amazing. If you look at this map, you've got winter storm warnings in effect now, all the way from New Mexico to New England. Wow. This would include Dallas-Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, St. Louis, Kansas City, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Columbus, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, Boston. Wow. Buffalo. And, of course, we're down here in the very southern fringe of all of that. We'll check the severe weather outlooks. This is through tonight. Maybe some thunder for parts of Texas. Tomorrow, maybe some thunder just west of here. And then on day 3, which is Sunday, looky here. We have a level 1 out of level 5 marginal risk of severe thunderstorms for parts of South Alabama. SPC has trimmed a little bit of this since the map we showed you this morning, and I think that makes good sense. The risk of severe storm Sunday, south and east of a line, from near Chatham to about Prattville to about Lynette. The area's in dark green on that map. And we'll take a look at all the severe weather parameters in just a second. I mean, this is a weekend where you got icing to the north, severe storms to the south. It's going to be one for the weather watchers for sure. Here's a look at the rain for the next 7 days, and thankfully most of this will be just that, rain for Alabama. 2 to 3 inches for the northern half of the state, 1 to 2 inches for South Alabama. But again, a lot of this will be freezing rain for the northwestern corner of the state and maybe some counties in northeast Alabama. So let's go through everything and talk about it. This is the European 12Z run, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Model fans. This is the, you can see the trough coming down through Mexico. And again, that's the one that's kind of driving everything. And down below that, everything starts to creep in here tomorrow. But let's go. We're obviously within range of the high-resolution model, so let's do that. So this is tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock Central Time. And this is the high-resolution HER model, best model in the house for short-term events. And you can see a wintry mix over really the Tennessee Valley and north of US 278, north of a line from Hamilton to Cullman to Gadsden. And again, on these maps, the purple, that would represent freezing rain, liquid rain with temperatures below freezing. The orange, that would be sleet, little ice pellets. The blue, that would be snow. So a wintry mix. And it's probably going to be very light. Initially, the air is going to be very dry. But understand, it doesn't take a lot. I have seen so many incidents with freezing drizzle where we've had major traffic headaches. FISDIZ, that's what the abbreviation is in the weather world. So we might see a little bit of icing in the Tennessee Valley as early as 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, but the rates really start to ramp up tomorrow evening. This is tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. And for most of the state, that warm nose begins to move north, and it's just rain. But still, look at that northwest corner. Florence, Waterloo, Cherokee, the Shoals, Tuscumbia, Sheffield, down to Russellville. This is where there could be some very meaningful ice accumulation. And the surface temperatures are just going to be critical here. I think it's safe to say Florence could wind up with at least 10 hours of freezing rain. That's a real problem. That could put down more than 0.3 of an inch of ice accumulation, and that's a big deal. That'll bring in power outages, major travel disruptions, nasty ice storm. The question is, when do temperatures warm above the freezing mark? Because we think temperatures will rise tomorrow night. Instead of fall, we think they'll come up with that warm nose coming in from the south. Again, what you're looking at, that's 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Let's go to 12 midnight tomorrow night. And if the HRRR is right, we'll see mid-30s in Florence with a changeover to just good old-fashioned rain. And we hope that's the way it works. That would ease icing conditions a little bit. Of course, it won't solve every problem, but it should ease things a little bit with mid-30s and just a cold rain falling. But what if Florence stays at or below freezing for the whole event? That could be a catastrophic ice storm. I don't think that happens. That warm nose is very pronounced. Again, we're going to see some 60s over in South Alabama overnight, tomorrow night, with that warmer air moving north. So hopefully for the Shoals, it'll just be a cold rain by midnight tomorrow night, easing things a little bit. This is Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, and again, it's a close call. It's a close call, but the HRRR is suggesting mid-30s with rain around Florence and the Shoals. And we hope that's the case. We hope it warms up above freezing overnight, tomorrow night, into Sunday morning. A pretty good chance that happens, but of course there's no guarantee. But even with that, you're still going to get 10, 12 hours of freezing rain. That's a very significant event. And again, Sunday morning at 6 o'clock, we've also got freezing rain falling over West Tennessee, much of Mississippi. But for Alabama, that warm air comes north, and it's going to be relatively warm. Again, we're going to see 60s maybe Sunday morning up to Interstate 20, Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. So what about the severe storms to the south? All right, South Alabama, let's talk about you. This is the instability Sunday at noon. There's no instability for North Alabama. You can see that unstable air over the southern counties of the state. The wind dynamics are pretty impressive. That's SRH, the storm relative helicity, veering of the wind with altitude in relation to storm motion. And this is the STP, the significant tornado parameter. And we've got a max of 4 units in southwest Alabama. So there could be an isolated tornado Sunday. This is not a major threat here, but there could be a brief isolated tornado somewhere over Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia, Monroe, Conecuh, Butler, Covington counties, and that risk will gradually shift over toward Dothan, Enterprise, Eufaula, Abbeville, Headland by later Sunday afternoon. So in addition to watching the cold air and the freezing threat to the north, we've got the chance of a few isolated tornadoes to the south. But back to the north, here's a look at the expected ice accumulation. This is valid through Monday, and this is coming off the national blend of models. And you can see that large strip of ice accumulation all the way from Texas almost up to D.C. and Baltimore. And in Alabama, we're watching the trends. It seems like the NBM has trended up a little bit. We've got, again, up in that northwestern corner of the state, there could be 0.3 of an inch of ice or maybe more. But look across the line in Tennessee and Mississippi. I'm seeing 57 hundredths, 49 hundredths of an inch of ice. That's a lot of ice. It doesn't sound like much, but trust me, that will bring down trees. That will bring down power lines. And if we see numbers like that around the Shoals, the same thing happens there. So understand, if you're in Florence, Sheffield, Tuscumbia, Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Phil Campbell, Cherokee, anybody in that ice storm warning, those 3 counties, just be prepared for power outages. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. And also we note, look at Fort Payne, Mentone, Valley Head. That's 0.2 of an inch of ice. That's very meaningful there. And that's with the cold air damming. That's with the cold air draining down the mountains. That's a whole different dynamic there. But that could be some meaningful ice accumulation in parts of Jackson, DeKalb, and Cherokee counties. Maybe into Etowah or Marshall. But the greater concern with that cold air damming event would be over Jackson, DeKalb, Cherokee. And again, the NBM is not very bullish on Calhoun and Cleburne, not much. I know there's a winter storm watch there. But again, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Point South, no, just a lot of rain. And I know so many kids want it to snow, but no. We might see a few little flakes on the backside of this thing Sunday before it ends, Sunday evening. But if you're looking for good snows, head north of Interstate 40. Little Rock, St. Louis, Louisville, Evansville, Indiana, Cincinnati, Columbus, Ohio, Pittsburgh, D.C., Baltimore, New York City, Boston. That's coming off the European, and the GFS is very similar. So let's go to a Sunday, back to the European, Sunday at 3. And again, the deal is, in theory, most of the state should be above freezing, even the Tennessee Valley, Sunday morning, with that warm nose. In fact, rain, it could be just rain in East Tennessee. But notice, to the north and west, cold air rushes in, another changeover back to freezing rain. So again, there could be a brief period of freezing rain Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening before this mess all ends. And then by Monday, it's all gone. But again, the concern, we're going to see lows well down in the teens, and we could easily see a flash freeze or black ice problems for the whole northern half of the state Monday morning. There's a lot of water. We could see 2 inches of rain. It's just not going to go away like that. And with temperatures dropping like a rock into the teens, a flash freeze, a very real possibility. So just be aware, roads could be icy, especially bridges, maybe some blacktop roads Monday morning. But at least the day will be sunny. North Alabama stays below freezing all day. Tuesday, this will be our coldest morning. Some of the North Alabama communities will likely be in the single digits, teens all the way down into South Alabama. Wednesday, we're dry. We might hit the 40s, but a new surge of colder air drops in here on Thursday. That'll drop highs back in the 30s. It's going to be a very cold week. And then a week from today, this is Friday the 30th, troughing on the East Coast. And we're watching, you see the little wave coming into West Texas and the little upper low that's over the Gulf of California. Keep an eye on those things. But again, we're still just cold and dry. Temperatures way below average next week, but the week looks dry. So let's go out 10 days. This is Monday the 2nd of February. European advertising a pretty good trough coming through the eastern Gulf, and it's shunting the system to the south of here, if the European is correct. And understand this is 10 days out, 240 hours out. And I know what everybody is sharing on the Twitter and the Talk and the Gram. It's that. This is the GFS, valid Saturday night, January 31st, next weekend. And if this were to verify, this would be a generational type 1993 snow for Alabama. And I will say that the Canadian global model is showing some support for that idea. This is the same time. This is Saturday night, and the Canadian, it's a week from tomorrow night, suggests a snowstorm for Alabama. But the European, which is the most reliable because of data assimilation, grid resolution, and many more things, it's got this thing shunted to the south. But the signals are there that there's going to be a storm next weekend. Will it be shunted to the south and stay in the Gulf? Will it impact Alabama with a whopper of a snowstorm? We don't know that yet. Nobody knows that yet. We got to get through this weekend storm before we can focus on that, all right? We take them one at a time like a football coach. But I know that that's all you're going to see on the social platforms for the next several days. But if you watch these videos, you understand the limitations of deterministic model output 10 days in advance. Here's a look at rain for the next 15 days, out to the 7th of February. The mean a little over 2 inches, between 2 and 3 inches there. And it's cold next week. And again, this is for the central part of the state. If you're in the Tennessee Valley, take off a few degrees. Below freezing all day Monday. Lows next week, teens and 20s. It's very cold. Coldest week easily so far this winter. And the latest long-range guidance just in. This is for the 31st of January through the 6th of February. Temperatures below average, if this verifies. So let's quickly roll some Children's of Alabama Kid Cam. Magnolia Elementary in Trussville today, the third graders. I'm kind of partial to third graders. I mean, they can soak up the science. Had a really good session today, and I like these cupcakes. I like those a lot. I needed that on this day. But we talked about what's going to happen this weekend, talked about winter storms, talked about hurricanes, tornadoes. Very well-dressed people, by the way. But that's a great school, great teachers. So again, to everybody at Magnolia Elementary in Trustful, thanks a lot for a great visit earlier today. You guys are looking good. So again, that's a situation with the watches and the warnings. Again, ice storm warnings for Atlanta. Ice storm warnings for Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties in northwest Alabama. That's the focus there. But again, there could be some patchy icing north of Interstate 20 tomorrow. The winter weather advisory as far south as Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Cullman, Blount, Etowah, Cherokee. Winter storm watch, Calhoun, Cleburne. That's a very conditional threat there. Not quite sure we see much of any problems there. And then again, we've got that risk of severe storms over South Alabama on Sunday. So it's going to be a weekend that will not have a boring moment. And again, we're going to be live on the Alabama Weather Network. We'll probably go live tomorrow morning about 8 o'clock. Whenever the icing begins in the shoals, that's when we go live. And understand we've got so many cameras on the net. Boy, some new ones have come on in the last few days that are just incredible. But we'll have all these cameras. We'll have people on the ground. So you don't have to go out and look. We'll show it to you. You can just stay in a nice warm house. And hopefully you maintain power through this if you're in the northwest corner of the state. So be sure you've got us on your TV, the app on your television, just like you install Netflix on your TV. And have it on your phone, your tablet, and be sure to follow Alabama Weather Network on the social channels, especially on YouTube. You can always watch that way. Facebook, X, all the platforms, TikTok, we're there. So that's going to wrap it up today. I will be on ABC 3340 News this evening, and you can hear me every day on great radio stations around the state, including in Birmingham, 98.7 KISS. Thanks for watching. Have a marvelous weekend. Stay dry, and God bless.